you just want to watch it again. But yeah, like Andy said, my name's Kayla, and I am with the Wheeler Mission Team. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for participating in Strength this year. Yeah, Andy and I think Jennifer, there she is, yeah. They can answer all your judging questions. If you guys have any event questions, feel free to ask those as well. You can either unmute yourself and ask with your voice, or if you want to pop it in the chat, we will also be monitoring that as well. But with that, Andy, take it away. Or Jen, I don't know who's doing it tonight.
I'll quickly introduce myself, and then Jen and I can jump in and out as we see fit. So I'm Andy. I'm one of the coaches at CrossFit HSE. We're super excited. It's our first year of hosting this event. We're super excited to get this event, well, to get it started and make sure it runs as smoothly as possible. Hence the reason we're on this call. I will share my screen unless Jen's going to share. Are you able to share your screen, Jen, or are you on your phone, right?
I'm in the car. You're going to share today.
Gotcha. All right, just double checking. Yes, that's me. If you have any questions, please ask either in the chat, like Kayla said, or just once we've explained the workout and the scoring cards, we'll open it up to questions. I mean, feel free. There is no such thing as a stupid question. I mean, please ask us. We'll do our best to answer it. And if we don't have the answer, we will definitely get it by weekend. Jen, over to you.
Jennifer Williams. I'm one of the coaches at HSE. I am taking this call from my car. I will probably go off video about halfway through, but I will be on to answer any questions. And like Andy said, don't hesitate to just stop us and ask. If you think of something after we're past a workout, it's not a big deal. Just ask the question and we'll figure it out.
All right, so to get started, before we start, does anybody have any questions or huge concerns? And outside of the workout detail, because we're going to go through that in a second, but just in terms of your own responsibilities, any burning thing you want to get off your chest before we get started?
Do we know which heats we're assigned to, or which lanes or anything, or will we figure that out tomorrow? So
Tommy is figuring that out. Sorry, Kayla, I only know it's from the other day. So Tommy's figuring that out with Kayla. And you guys will get wind of that, and you're going to basically do a complete heat. So you'll, as I understand it, Kayla, correct me if I'm wrong, you'll do the complete heat. You'll then get the next WOD or next workout off. Most people will, because we've got quite a lot of judges, and then you'll jump in on the next one. Is that right, Kayla?
That sounds about right.
Cool. That's what we said on the call the other day, anyway. So I hope that's still right.
Yeah, it will also depend on, some judges have some time constraints, and so just depending on availability. But and sometimes we have to shift people around. I know in previous years, sometimes at the last minute you have to shift people because sometimes they're assigned to their own team. But that'll kind of all come out as we get things going Saturday morning too.
Anything else, guys, before we get started? All right, cool. I'm going to quickly share my screen. These are the scorecards you are going to get on the weekend. I'm hoping you can all see that screen right now.
Yep, you're good, Andy.
Cool. All right, so I'm going to go through each workout in turn. Then I'll take any questions. Let me get rid of this. Sorry, my IT is doing my head in. Let's put that up like that. And perfect. All right, so this is workout one, WOD one. It is called Lunges Your Way. All right, essentially each pair, so it'll be male, female, you're going to do 2 rounds of this. They will do 2 rounds of this each. All right, and it is 30 yards of synchro lunges with a sandbag. Then they'll get to the end of the 30 yards. They'll then drop the sandbag. They'll then complete 5 synchronized sandbag devil's press. All right, so when it comes to judging on the lunges, both knees touching the ground at the same time, and then full extension at the top at the same time. That's essentially what we're looking at for it to be good, called a good rep, and both feet together at the top of that. And then on the devil's press, the sandbag will be thrown onto the floor at the 30-yard point, and then their chest can touch the sandbag, or it can go to the floor. It's entirely up to them how they want to play it. And it will be the full lockout at the top we're looking at, and the chest to the floor. So the starting position and the end position is what we're looking at for the good rep. Then they'll go back 30 yards, and then they will drop the sandbag, and then the other team will take over. And they'll basically do that twice each. That's why it is 10 rounds. And you can see the scorecard there is pretty, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. There is a time cap of 20 minutes on this. Is there any questions on that?
For the sink at the top, do the feet have to come together, or can you
Yes, they do,
continue
yeah.
like walking? The feet have to
No,
go
they
together.
have to come together, Natalie.
Okay.
At the same time, that's what we're looking at on that end of that particular lunge.
And just to confirm on the lunges, the sandbag can be in any racked position, a back rack, a front rack. If someone on your team's wild enough to want to do overhead, they could do it overhead. But they just have to have it on their shoulders, their upper body in some way. They can't hold it down to their side. So again, front rack, back rack, overhead. And I think we even said, Andy, they could have it on a single shoulder, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Yep. Okay. So any of those positions will be acceptable in the lunges. And the same with the run back. They can hold it however they want it above their shoulders. Sorry. And we have a question in the chat. Hold on, Andy, I can read them to you. Did you say they have to drop it to give it to the next pair? No handoffs.
Yeah,
So
no
we
handoffs.
have-
Sorry, go on.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, so the sandbag will have to be dropped onto the floor, then the other person will have to pick it up. The other side. We're talking about the relay events here. So once they've finished their lunges, they've done the devil's press, they've gone back to tag their next team members in, the sandbag will have to go onto the floor.
Okay. Jason asked, can one athlete be in front of the other on the lunge as long as they are in sync? Yes, that is true. If fast partner crosses the 30-yard line before the slower partner, the fast partner needs to complete lunges until the slower partner is past the 30-yard line. This happened to Andy and I when we were working on this workout. He was about a half of a lunge in front of me, but yes, they need to continue lunging till the slower of the two is across the 30-yard line. And then John asked, what is the max lunges per round? It is 4 yards, John, so it is not for reps. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yes.
Hold on.
Yes, it makes
Okay.
sense.
We have one more. Please tell us in what way we stop or correct a pair if not synchronized. Just don't count the rep, and then they do it correctly until they're complete. They need to go back to the spot where they were not synchronized, the last spot they were synchronized. So let's say they step their feet together, and then one person goes knee down and then steps back together before his partner has her knee down. They will need to go back to the knee position and both have their knees down. They can't just catch up on the next rep. Yep, perfect. Okay, looks like, Andy, hold on, let me check. I think we got all those though. Okay, you're good, Andy.
All right, perfect. Guys, if you do think of any other questions, please fire it in either during the briefing or vice versa. Okay, guys, so the second workout is called Thrusters for Everyone. All right, essentially, this is 90 seconds of work for one athlete, and they can do as many thrusters as they possibly can in that 90 seconds. There will then be a 30-second transition to change the weights on the bar, and I'll talk about weights and all that sort of stuff in a second. And what we're looking at that thruster is hips breaking parallel, so just below parallel in the bottom of the thruster, and as you come to the top, full extension with the arms and the hips, and that will complete that one rep. A question we got asked the other day, can people squat clean it to make it that first movement? And absolutely, yes, they can. So they can squat clean that first movement, so they're in that squat already, then they can push up through that thruster. And with the weights, so we've limited the weights that people can use as opposed to people just saying, hey, I'm going to throw in whatever weight I want on the bar to make it easier for judges and it's a lot more manageable. So you can see on the, I'm not going to read them out to you, but you can see the minimum sort of weights and it goes up gradually throughout. There's 4 different weight categories for each sex. All right. And then you can look below the table, and it is essentially that gives you the score guide of what each weight is worth. So if it's the lowest weight, it's worth 0.5 each rep. And then and it gradually goes up all the way through. So right up to the heaviest weight is 5 points per rep. You don't need to worry about the maths. All you need to worry about is putting the correct number of reps in the correct box, and we will do the maths for you. That's not a problem. Or the desk will do the maths for you. We don't want you guys getting too tied up in that. It's pretty fast and furious in that part there. Another question, just to sort of aim off for this one. What if I choose 185 and I've only got 1 rep in and I'm failing miserably? I cannot change that weight. I will have to sit out for the rest of that 90 seconds. All right, and until the next athlete comes in, and then we change the weight for whatever they've chosen. Hopefully that makes it pretty clear. Any questions?
And teammates can change the weights for their teammates who will be lifting. So we understand it's 30 seconds and it's quick, but it can be done IndyCar style. You can have someone on each end changing weights, getting ready for the next person. The judge needs to confirm with the lifter before they make their first lift, you have 135 on the bar or whatever that is, and make sure that person acknowledges. That's going to settle or keep most disagreements from happening. Look the person who's getting ready to lift in the eyes and say, you have 135 on your bar, and then mark that column and move on with your reps. But that's what I would recommend there. So there's no arguing in a 30 seconds or trying to argue at the end of all of a team finishing.
Yeah, I should have mentioned this at the start, guys. So WOD 1 is going to be 2 judges per team. WOD 2 is going to be 2 judges per team. And again, on Saturday, when we do the judges brief at 8 a.m., we'll detail you guys off on the best way to judge the teams and also where to stand and all that sort of stuff. That'll be Saturday morning rather than take up too much of this call on it and you guys totally forget by Saturday.
There will be women's and men's bars, just in case somebody asks or you're wondering. There will be both for this setup, and there will be weight plates just to total the weights that we have outlined here.
Is any questions, guys? Anything in the chat? I can't see the chat.
Nothing in the chat, Andy.
Okay, cool. That's a pretty straightforward workout.
Hold on. Now that it's so each athlete has 90 seconds to do as many regardless of the rest in between. Yes. So it doesn't matter how long they rest. It doesn't matter if they pick 185 and they do 5 and they rest 20 seconds, whatever the math is. I didn't do that right, but 20 seconds in between each one. Maybe they knock 5 out and they don't pick the bar up again. Whatever they get down in that 90 seconds, it's their business and your business to count them. And that's all. Okay, they're good.
All right, perfect. All right, so I'll scroll down to workout 3. This is a slightly more complex with a lot of moving parts on this one. I'll explain the workout and we'll go through the score sheet. All right, so it's called down and over and around. It's got a 15-minute time cap. All right, the male team will go first, and they're essentially going to do 60 burpees sandbag over the yoke. All right, so the yoke will start at the 0-yard line. 2 males will complete 10 burpee over sandbag. A burpee sandbag over the yoke, sorry. So that will be a burpee, picking the sandbag up, putting it over the yoke. The sandbag can touch the yoke. It can be pushed over the yoke in terms of the bar that goes across. All right, it can touch the bar is the bottom line on that one. And then the other person will pass it over and then vice versa, just keep throwing it over to one another. That's what we're going to do until they reach 10. The caveat to this, they can only work when one of their team members is holding a handstand. And they won't be holding a freestanding handstand. There'll be another team member with a PVC pipe, and they'll be doing a handstand against that PVC pipe. So as long as somebody's in that handstand position, then the other person can work. And it's only males on that first element, and on the second element, it will only be females. So you'll always have one team member potentially resting. And we got asked the other day, can that team member that's resting assist that person getting up into that handstand position? The answer is yes. As long as it's only up into that position, then they have to let them go. All right, if anybody comes down from that handstand position, the people doing the burpees have to stop. All right, so once they've done their 10 burpees, they're then going to move that yoke and the sandbag up to the next yardage line. And then they'll do another 10 burpee sandbag over yoke, and they'll keep completing that for a total of 6 times or 60 burpee sandbag over the yokes. And at that point there, the females will take over at the 50-yard line, and they will do exactly the same thing. At that point there, the males are resting. All right. At no point, hang on 2 seconds, go on.
No, I was just going to give a real quick, because this is where people have been getting confused. When the men finish their 60, they will be on the 50-yard line. They will not move the yoke before the women start. So every other time after they finish their burpees, they move the yoke, but they will leave it on the 50-yard line for the women to start. And that's just kind of an odd, that's the way it ends, just so everyone's aware with the men.
Okay,
Sorry, go ahead.
And then the other bit to that is, if the males are up, the females can't get involved, and then vice versa. All right, so at no point can it help move any equipment unless it is the males or females' turn. Questions?
Okay, Amy, we have a few questions. So Brent, I might need you to speak up, but this says 5 each, 10 each, 15 each. I don't know exactly what you mean.
Yeah,
But
so when you're doing
when
the 10, 20, 30, is it 5 each makes 10, 10 each makes 20?
Yeah. Okay, that's what so it's actually when we say 10, 20, 30, that is the total. So you'll do 10 burpee sandbag overs at the 0-yard line, 10 at the 10-yard line. So you only do 10 every time you move the yoke. Does that make sense?
Perfect.
It doesn't increase. And then you and your partner will do alternating. So it will be 5 each at each station. And then we have one more. How far does the yoke get moved each time? It's 10 yards. So you'll start on the 0, go to the 10, then the 20, then the 30, then the 40, then the 50. The women will take it at the 50. They will start their 10 at the 50, and then they'll do the 50, the 60, the 70, the 80, the 0, basically. Okay, we got more questions. Hold on. Slide or carry the yoke, both acceptable. You can move the yoke however you need to. You can have someone carry it. You can have someone slide it. You can have 2 or 3 people push it. I will tell you this, when we demoed this, it moves very easily on the field. So it should be something that's very easy for a single person or 2 people to do on your team. Handstand hold while the yoke is moving. No, you only need a partner in the handstand hold during the burpee movements. So they kick up, you start your burpees. The minute you guys are done, they can kick down, and then someone has to kick back up when you guys start again at the next line. And that looks like all the questions.
Okay.
I think there's one more.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, Natalie's question is the same as Tom's. Yep, just to clarify, the handstand does not have to be held while the yoke is moving. That is true. Yep. Oh, hold on, I just got another one. Does every person have to cycle through each movement? Or can someone who isn't as strong at handstands not do that movement?
So, do you want to say that, Jen? I can answer that if you want.
You can take it, Andy.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so no, not everybody has to cycle through their handstands. What we do say, everybody has to cycle through the burpees. So if you have somebody that is uncomfortable going upside down, there is lots of people like that, then they can hold the PVC pipe and they can just do 2 rounds of the burpees or 2 rounds or whatever. But not everybody has to cycle through that handstand element.
And again, as coaches, you're really not going to be tracking how many burpees each person does. That's not to worry about. It's just that the team does 60 between the males and 60 between the females, and someone's holding a handstand during the burpee sandbag movement.
And once again, you're going to have 2 judges on that station also. So one person, I suggest, would be counting the burpees. The other person would be ensuring that the handstand is held whilst the burpees are happening. Any other questions, guys?
There's nothing in the chat.
All right, so I'll move on to workout 4 then. This is called hurdles and hustle. So essentially, every 90 seconds, a team member will go. So if it's me, I will start off at the 0 line. I will sprint 100 yards on the 20, 40, 40, and 20-yard lines. So basically 4 hurdles. There's going to be a hurdle. So you can jump 4 hurdles. Then you're going to, at the end of the 100 yards is the rowing machine. I would jump on that rower for the remainder of my 90 seconds. I'm going to row for as many calories as I can possibly get in the remaining time. And that is it. The other team member will go. It acts like a relay. We'll have 3 judges set up on this one. one overseeing the hurdles, one overseeing the rowing, and the other person overseeing the start line. That's how the judges are going to be laid out. The rules for this. We don't know the size of the hurdles, but they are anything between 32 and 36 inches. This is a youth level track, so they're not going to be that tall. And we will set them, if possible, on the lowest possible setting, so everyone gets a fair crack at jumping these hurdles. All right, so if a person cannot jump or does not want to jump over it, they have a couple of options. They can crawl under it. They can do one burpee and then just bypass the hurdle. If they knock it over, they must run back and place the hurdle in the original position. That is it. Jen, anything to add?
Yep, so questions. Does the rower need to get reset each time? Do not reset the rowers. Their score will be the total calories rowed throughout all 10 athletes. If a rower gets reset, they don't get those points. So the judge will be there to let them know, but they should not reset. The rest of the teammate can help get their team in and out of the rower if they need help with the straps, and they can change the damper setting for their teammate on the rower, just to let the judges know. Those are all the questions in the chat right now.
Awesome. All right. So here we go. This is the final workout. This has not been released. All right. This is the championship workout. This will be the top 5 teams of the whole event. Will go through to this event. All right. Again, we've tested all these events, and this is a fun, really fun, super fun event. So just only one of my favorites. All right. It says initially there was no cap for this, but we are putting a 20-minute time cap on this, as you can see on that score sheet. All right. So initially there was no cap, but we will put a 20-minute cap. All right. So this is it. So what will you normally do? You'll have 2 bars set up, male, female bar. Males will be set up on 275, females on 185. And these are synchro deadlifts. So we're looking at lifting from the floor at the same time and coming to the full extension at the same time. Right? They can drop the bar. That'll be one of the questions in guarantee. They can drop the bar. All right, they can break that up. So go on.
Sorry, we set synchro at the top on all of the other groups.
My bad. Sorry.
Yeah, they just have to, just because of different heights and stuff, synchro at the bottom, but they have to be at the top. So if someone has to wait, they have to wait.
Okay, so I'll just correct myself. It is at the top as opposed to the bottom. All right, so if someone picks it up before me, that person will have to wait until I picked it up and stood up with the bar until we can drop it, and that counts as a rep. And it's like I said, they can break it up however they want. And when we did it, I think we were doing sets of 5, Jen, weren't we?
We did, and I think it just depends on how strong your team is, what you would do. I said I would have wanted to do bigger sets, but not everybody agreed.
Okay, so once they've done their 75 synchro deadlifts, the females will grab all the weights off the female bar. The males will grab all the weights off the male bar. You can leave the bars. We don't need the bars at this point. All them weights or plates, they'll be placed on a yoke. There'll be 2 yokes, 1 female, 1 male. They're then going to do a 100-yard sled push. Males will stay on their own yoke. Females will stay on their own yoke. All 5 of each sex can push through the sled at the same time if they want to. All right. Or you can have it individually. How they get it that 100 yards is entirely up to them, but no carrying. Not that they want to carry it that heavy. All right. And they're going to push it 100 yards. Any questions on that so far? There is more.
No question. Go ahead. Go ahead. There's nothing in the chat.
Okay, perfect. All right. Once they push their yoke, and it will be the middle of the yoke over the line. That's what we're kind of as. They will then going to basically set up in like staggered files or lines, and they're going to run 40 yards. So females will run 40 yards, males will run 40 yards at the same time. All right. 40-yard farmers carry with these sandbags. 80 pounds or 2 80 pounds for males, 2 40 pounds for females. And it's 40 yards there, 40 yards back. And then the other person will switch out.
And Andy, I know on this, I'm sorry, on this score sheet, it looks like we only have 1 score line, but it's actually a line for, it should be the males have to complete each male has to complete 40 and each female has to complete 40, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's a little confusing on here, so I want to make sure the judges understand that.
Yeah. They're going to run at the same time, so that's why she's done it that way, because it's partner standby carries.
Okay.
All right, guys. So once all the team members have gone through that, so they've done it once each. It's then going to be a 100-yard handstand walk. All right, so this is only one person working at once, so it's not partnered like the remainder of it was. So one person working at once, and just like the Open, for those that do the Open or any other competitions, we're going to work on 5-yard intervals. So you must complete a complete 5 yards for that to count as that yardage completed. Hands will start off, so they'll go up with the hands on the outside of the box, and hands must be on the furthest of the line. Now again, we'll show you this on the day. One person can do the whole 100 yards if they're that good, all right? Or they can switch in and out as many times as they like, providing they complete those 5 yards. Jen, anything?
Ariane, there's a message from, if I butcher your name, I'm sorry, but it looks like Ariane. To clarify, synchro at the top, but doesn't matter how the ground is touched. I am assuming you're referring to deadlifts. And if that is correct, then yes, you have to synchro at the top. That means male, female, both fully extended knees, fully extended hip at the top, no movement, and then you can go down. If you're talking about something else, you'll have to speak up. What is the youngest age requirement for a judge? This is going to be for our Strength in the Streets rep who is on the phone, because I don't know.
That is a great question. I do not know either. If you can pop your email in the chat, then I'll talk to my boss and see if we have an answer to that, and then I'll send you an email if that's all right.
I'm gonna say from a judging perspective and from a gym perspective, I would want them to be at least probably 14. And I don't know if Andy has something else, but I think just they're going to be judging adults who all have opinion, and they're going to need to be able to stand up for themselves. And I don't want them getting buried or feeling bad to no rep somebody. So they're going to have to be able to do that.
My take would be absolutely 18. If you're judging adults, you should be an adult. But it's totally Wheeler's Mission's call. It's not our call on this one.
Yeah.
On the handstand walk, I had a question for the 100-yard handstand walk. If they drop down inside of the 5 yards and they have to go back to the beginning.
Go back to the last 5 yards they completed.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, some more online questions. All 10 synchro deadlifts at the same time. There is not a number of synchro deadlifts you have to do. Your team can decide what they want to do. They could have one male who wants to do 15 reps, and they could switch out a female every 5 reps. They could have each person do 5 together. It's whatever your team wants to do. On the sandbag, 40 yards down and 40 yards back. Each participant must complete it. Yes, John, that is correct. Each participant must go down and back 1 time with 2 sandbags and a farmer carry. Eric, do both male and female have to finish the sandbag carry before the handstand walking can start? Yes. And then number 2, the handstand walk is 100 each for male and female. It is 100 total yards for the entire team. That is everything that's in chat. But again, we have plenty of time for you guys to open up your mics or to continue asking questions in the chat function if you would like.
I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Okay, how many judges per team? I think you mean how many judges per team per event. That will depend on the event, and we will go over that at each event, because some events will need 2, some events will need 3.
I was actually asking for this one, for the last one.
I can tell you what it is. So WOD's 1, so the workouts 1, 2, and 3 will have 2 judges, and then the remaining workouts will have 3 judges.
Got it.
And again, on Saturday morning, when myself and the rest of the team brief you all, again, we're going to explain all this sort of stuff, because there will be judges that have not seen these videos or have not been involved in any of this sort of chat. So, I mean, we will go over all this again, and the different standards we're looking at and all that good stuff.
Yep. Are we keeping time on the handstand walks or just marking complete? We are just marking complete. There's then a second question about a tie break on the final event. Andy, I think that's still TBD, correct? Until Saturday morning?
Yeah, so well, if we get a tiebreaker, yeah, then we will be deciding that on Saturday morning. But the workout 5 is for time, so they have to complete that 4 time. You don't need to specify how long it takes each team to do the handstand walk, because the tiebreaker will involve a tiebreaker separately. And again, we just need to figure out ourselves whether that is the deadlifts or whatever it is.
Yep.
Well, most important
I-
question of the day.
Yes.
Will there be a break in the middle to eat lunch for the judges?
The judges are the only people who don't get any breaks, food or drink.
You guys will be doing basically where possible different heats. I know Tammy and her team will definitely ensure that you guys are getting breaks.
Awesome. Thank you.
And I have a
So-
cooler of cold drinks. If you guys don't have cold drinks, you can find me and I will make sure you have a cold drink.
Sorry, go on, Kellen.
I was asking about the tie break just because in the open, you know how you have to mark the time that they made it through each thing in case there's a need for a tie break at the end.
We
Yeah.
think it's going to be the time that they complete their deadlifts, but
Yeah.
as a programming team, we just haven't sat down together to talk about it. And that's our plan on Saturday morning, just to make sure we all agree. And then we'll let the judges know before that final event.
It's definitely preferred as a judge just to have to mark it off complete. So just checking.
There
Agreed.
will be, but we'll like Jen said, on Saturday morning we'll clarify that one element. That's the only thing we've got outstanding right now.
We might have a dance off. That might be the best way to do it.
So sure.
Okay, let me check the chat one more time. Will you pair a judge with no judging experience with a more seasoned judge? If you are a judge with no experience and you have any concerns, just let us know during the briefing and we will be happy to put you with someone who does have more experience and to make you more comfortable. But you're gonna have to speak up and let us know.
Who is the one that's giving us our heats and our pairings?
So that'll be Tammy from Wheeler Mission.
Okay, is there an email for her?
If you just want to email info@strengthinourstreets.com, then I can pop it over to her if needed.
Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll be on their emails nonstop between now and the event. So
So somebody just asked the question, are we judging our own teams? You will not be judging your own teams. And to sort of go back to the question about seasoned judges and experienced judges, whatever you guys want to call those, Jen, myself, and numerous coaches from our gym, we will be on call, and if needs be, we'll come and stand by you for the first heat, just to get into it and help you out with anything you need on that, and then we'll let you under your own steam. I mean, you guys are volunteers. I mean, we're very thankful for you guys doing this. We want to make sure the experience is enjoyable for you as it is for the athletes.
Yep. And I just want to say this. I know Andy and I told the other group this. And I've never experienced this at Strength in Our Streets. I have at other competitions, but never at Strength in Our Streets. If you run into any athletes or anybody who is giving you any grief about any of your judging or making any comments, don't engage. Just grab Andy or I or one of the other HSC people who is with us and let us handle it. You guys are volunteers. You are there to help people. You don't deserve it. We'll deal with it. I don't think it's going to happen, but you just never know. Just find us. We'll handle it.
I have a question. I'm sorry, I had to jump on late, so I missed the discussion on the WOD 1. But for the lunges in the WOD 1, are they sinking at the top of the lunges or at the bottom of the lunges?
You got it, Jen?
Both. So it's
Both?
step together. So with their feet together, sink, knee down, sink. So
Okay,
I mean,
thank you.
an example, when Andy and we demoed this, we were the demo team. We were a pair on this one, and we just called out down together to make sure that's how we dealt with it. But
Perfect. Thank you.
of course. All right. I think I speak for the entire Wheeler Mission team and the HSE team. If you guys have questions, if you get them to strengthen our streets, whatever that email is. If it's for the HSE team, they will get them to us. We will make sure we are prepared to talk about those questions at the 8 a.m. judges briefing to answer all your questions. And Kayla, just put that email in the chat in case you need it.
Geraldine, I don't think that's a question, is it? I don't think Geraldine and Steve.
No, they're just saying that my advice was
Okay.
wonderful, Andy.
Oh, you're wonderful, Jen. Thank you. I'm British. Come on, some of this terminology is weird for me.
I will say
Oh my God.
one last thing that's kind of judging related is on the score sheets, you saw that you'll write in the team name that you are judging. We will have signs with the team names on them, and we need you to write them exactly as they are on those signs. Just as the person that records all the scoring, it can just get us really backed up, and sometimes I've recorded wrong scores. So just write it exactly as it is. I know that you probably want to shorten it so it's easier, but that just helps the day run smoother as well.
Yeah, and to Kayla's point, I know that like a lot of times one gym will have 3 teams and their team name starts with 3 Kings. And then it's 3 Kings Thick or 3 Kings this, or, you know, Broad Ripple Fit Club this. And so I think that's really the main point here is that a single gym will have multiple teams, and then it does, I'm sure, get confusing.
So a question in the chat from Eric. Does someone from a team need to sign off on the score sheet? Yes, please. Let's try and ideally we get the team captain where possible to sign it off. And then what you've done is we're trying to do this similar to the Open with the score sheets. There should be a little bit on the bottom you can rip off and just give it to them to show them what score you've done it, and they've signed it off, you've signed it off. Just so there's no animosity or no discrepancies at the end or any part. Wheeler Mission will provide clipboards and pens and the scorecards.
And stopwatches.
Oh, and sorry.
All the things you need, we'll have for you.
Judges
Yes.
t-shirt.
Everyone will get a shirt this year. I know in years past we only did judges, but yes, I think we will probably also just have maybe a vest or something. Well, that's not true. We will have a way to differentiate either a vest or a different colored shirt. Yes.
Let's go. Thanks. Well done, Gabe. Anyone else got any problems at all or any questions?
Thank you guys again. You guys are doing all the hard work, really. We just want you to know that we appreciate everything you do, and even the day of, literally flag us down for anything you need.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you all Saturday. 8 a.m. is going to be the judges briefing. You'll see me. I'll be there with Jen and Jake, one of our other coaches. We're going to demo everything for you. So I know we're talking a lot here, but there's some people who may have only just started CrossFit or might not even CrossFit and just been spammed with judging. All right, thank you for coming. All right, we will, like I said, we will demonstrate everything. You're bound to have 1 or 2 more questions in terms of standards and stuff like that. It will all be explained and demonstrated to you guys on the weekend. But any questions you do have, ping them into Kayla on that email and we'll answer them to you.
All right, see you all.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.